Hey, I'm not surprised, motherfuckers.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to Courtside Soundoff podcast. Once again, I'm Josh Evanoff. He's the one and only Angel Ortega. A lot of stuff to talk about this week. We got some UFC, a little bit of UFC, but then most of the podcast, bit of a filler week. We're going to have a lot of our NFL stuff, NBA stuff, some boxing. Before we get into all of that, we'll talk to you guys about Rogue Energy. Rogue Energy was founded in January 2017 to be the best gaming drink in the world. They hold a pretty stack of the former delicious energy and focus drink designed to replace an elegant energy drinks, coffee, and even traditional pre-workouts. Rogue Energy is sugar-free and is loaded with vitamins, antioxidants, and nootropics. They designed Rogue Energy for the emerging professional competitive gaming market. It continues to have fantastic carryover and success to students, athletes, entrepreneurs, and anyone looking to optimize their mental or physical performance. If you want 10% off your order, use the code SOUNDOFF at checkout. This code SOUNDOFF at checkout for 10% off of all your energy needs. Last Saturday night from the UFC Apex in Las Vegas, Nevada, it was the Brits versus the U.S. main event, Derek Brunson versus Darren Till. And Angel, my man, obviously there was a lot of talk going in. We talked about it a little bit on the show. A very close matchup, man. Obviously Brunson's been on a tear. Till's been struggling, but he was coming off a fight against Robert Whittaker where he did look very, very good. In the end, Derek Brunson just wrestling the shit out of Darren Till for 2.5 rounds. Till gets up at the start of round 3, nearly knocks out Brunson, Brunson recovers, rebounds, and gets the submission finish. Dude, I mean, we've got to talk about it now. Is Derek Brunson a legitimate title contender at 185?
I mean, definitely after this win, I mean, you know, he definitely earned the fact that he can say, you know, you got to put some respect on my name. And trust me, he had respect on his name before this. There's no
not enough,
that. You know, not enough. No, definitely not. Definitely not enough. But the thing is, though, I was that Kevin Holland win is one that sticks out to me because I felt like, especially with how bad Kevin Holland's wrestling is, and we've seen it, you know, now multiple times.
Yeah. It's
kind of like Kevin Holland should have been the kind of guy. What he did to Darren Till is what he should have done to Kevin Holland, but easier.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that he got hurt in that Kevin Holland fight, and it ended up going to decision, and granted, you know, who knows how that thing goes in reality. And even in the Darren Till fight, he got hurt again. You know, he is a contender, but it's clear that, you know, he could be touched, and obviously people know what he's going to do. And obviously, he's, you know, if he's, you know, obviously he's very good at it, so he's going to dictate it all the time and use it to his max potential. But he's going to run into the wrong guy for sure. And is that going to be Israel Adesanya or is it not? Who knows? You know, I actually wanted to mention this to you now that we kind of have this show because there is no UFC this week. Mm-hmm. But the idea of how Dana said that they're going to bring Tough back, do you think they would do a Izzy Robert Whittaker season?
You know, I could see it happening, but I really don't think so for the sole purpose of, like, we know it's going to be postponed already.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I think it makes sense.
No, but it's being postponed because they can't, like, get into the U.S. That's why. Oh. Or is he? That's the reason why it's being postponed. There's no injuries or anything. It's just, like, there's travel issues with, like, getting out of the country on Izzy's side. Wow. That's why it's not going to happen.
Right. Well, I thought it was because, you know, we had talked prior that I was sold on the fact that they really wanted to do it in Australia or in Auckland or whatever. But, I mean, no, well, we're on the topic right now. We'll get into it a little quick, and then we'll roll them back. What do you think, if there is a pair of guys to do the tough season again, who do you think it would be?
Man, if we're talking tough, there's a lot of different possibilities. I still think that they kind of missed the mark by doing Ortega Volkanovski just because those are two entertaining guys, and I think we talked about it. We both like the season a lot. Like, it's not all-time or anything, but it's a pretty fun season. I think now they're going to have to do it. They got to run it with people that are at the very least, like, somewhat entertaining. Or more having
some name power.
Yeah, having more of, like, having more personality, having more of a rivalry. Man, that's a good-ass question.
That's what I told you. I think Robert Izzy would have made a lot of sense, and they could have done.
Izzy would have made a lot of sense if they could get into the U.S.
Well, the thing is, they could have literally done Australia versus, you know, it'd be up to Izzy, New Zealand / Nigeria or however he would want to do his team, and that would have been like That would have been a great fucking arc, yeah.
Mm-hmm. That would have been dope. You know what I think would be cool? I think maybe Petr Yan and TJ Dillashaw.
I could see
I think
them
that
doing
would be
that.
interesting.
But that'd be weird. That'd be a weird dynamic.
I don't think so, because Petr Yan is really, really hateable to people. Like, he talks a lot of shit. So I
He
think
talks a lot of shit, but he doesn't speak English.
He speaks a little bit.
A little
He's
bit.
He's working on it.
Yeah, Josh, but that's about how much Russian I speak.
Fair enough. Well, fuck. I mean, like, man, I actually have no idea. The problem is right now is that like they have a lot of fights booked, but they don't have. Maybe if Nick Diaz beats Robbie Lawler later this month, then maybe Nick versus Jorge.
Yeah,
I think that would make a lot of sense, especially considering Jorge, like they nearly had him and Colby do the tough season.
Man.
I think that would make a lot of sense.
But they just can't. They literally can't see each other.
I know, or maybe shit. If Colby loses against Jorge, maybe they do that again. But I don't know. I think there's a lot of possibilities, but they got to get somebody big in there because I feel like after this season, which like we're like the only people that watched it, like they're gonna have to put somebody big in there for them to make it worth it again. Because it seems like Contender Series has fully passed by Tough, and for good reason. Contender Series is dope.
Contender Series is dope. But I think Tough still could have like a lot of potential because you get to know the guy, like you can get attached to a person. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's fair. And I think Tough does a better job of like if you're looking for like the kind of drama elements, I think Tough does a really good job. If you're looking for like pure fighting, the Contender Series all the way.
Oh yeah, because they literally have 3 rounds to show off their skills, and that's their contract,
Yeah.
Opposed to where they have the tournament format to the season, and then they got the big fight.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I definitely think I don't know, man, but Tough, they got to figure something out, man. Just because like I loved this season, this past one, but like we're the only people who, from what I saw online, we're the only ones that really, really liked it, and at the same time, it's like we're also the ones that only really watched it. And just the ratings were never really released outside of episode 1 because I believe episode 1 is the only one that aired on straight up ESPN. The other ones aired on ESPN Plus, and I want to say it did really terrible in the ratings. And ratings aren't everything because a lot of people watch stuff digitally nowadays, but based off like online, we're still in like just Reddit, like seeing like the discussion threads and shit. By every single metric, even our YouTube, whenever we put up a clip of like us talking about it, it did nothing. So I think like they got to figure something out for next season. But we went a little bit off track with the UFC talk for this week, just to kind of wrap things up on like that side of things for this past event. Darren Till, dude, I know we talked about Derek Brunson getting the win. Darren Till, obviously, this is 4th loss in his last 5 fights. Now, I think like it's worth noting who he lost to, how he lost, and so on and so forth. But still, it's 4 out of his last 5. Where does he go from here? Some people are saying he should move down to 170. Should he take a step back in competition? Should he change camps? Angel, if you're Darren Till, what do you do moving forward?
I mean, I think you do 2 things. I think you take a step back in competition, and then with that, you also you do something to improve your game. You go somewhere else, get a different perspective. I mean, obviously for this person, it didn't work out as well as I imagined they did. But pull Khalil Roundtree, go to fucking Tiger Muay Thai, do some crazy shit like that. Put yourself out there, and really work on your game. And he's a talented guy. There's no doubt about it. I was listening to Schwab, and he was talking about him, Brendan. And he made it seem like this man, like this was like career ending. You know what I mean? Like this loss, like not career ending, but it was like very career defining. Like, oh, I don't know, man. Like this was a big one for him. He had to win, and I was like, I don't know. I think it wasn't necessarily that, but it was definitely I think Darren Till. If the perception of him that we have was true, he probably should have came out and won this fight. And sadly, that didn't happen. I think, like I said, he needs to do those 2 things, and then he'll come back, and he'll come back great. I think he just maybe needs some time. I think that's mainly what it is, and he's, like I said, he's a talented individual. He went the distance with Robert, and Robert's about to fight for this title, and he's been fucking going through, what is it, Dante's Inferno, to get to that title.
Yeah, and look, man, I think there's a lot of things you could say. I think Till just had like a couple of really bad matches, man. I think he got. I've said this since like he first came in, like when he first rose up, right? He got thrown to Cowboy, and whenever Cowboy was on a monster streak. Now, he did knock him out, so that was a good one. He beat Wonder Boy. I thought he lost that fight, but still he got the hometown decision. Then he got thrown to Woodley. He got thrown to Woodley with like 4 fights in the UFC, 5 fights in the UFC. Then he got thrown to Masvidal. And that, by the way, that was prime T Wood. This is not Jake Paul time at Woodley, okay? And then he got thrown to Masvidal. And Masvidal was in the middle of Masvidal Mania, 3-piece in a soda. Like, that was his fucking year, dude. Like, that was
2019.
Yeah, exactly. Badass Jorge Masvidal. He beats Kelvin Gastelum right after Kelvin had a war for the title. That was not Kelvin right now. He fought Robert Whittaker, and like I said, Whittaker's going through Dante's Inferno. He's former champion, probably future champion at some point in his career. Dude's still a monster, and he arguably won that fight. You can look up MMA decisions. A lot of people had Till winning that fight. And then Brunson, dude, he that was a bad match for him. Apparently, he had torn his ACL recently. He still went in there and fought. He nearly knocked him out in round 3. Had he just made some adjustments, he got the whole reason why he lost is because he nearly knocked Brunson out. Brunson shot for the takedown. They got into a scramble, and just so happened at the end of the scramble, Brunson got mount position. That probably does not happen very often. Just like that was very much a freak sequence. You know what I mean? Particularly just how they landed. So had that not happened, he probably wins the fight. So I think there's a lot of different stuff to go into it. It's a very rough streak for Till, though. But we'll see what happens moving forward. He's still really, really young. So I'm not really that worried about it. He's still 28 years old. So we'll see what happens. Co-main event, though. If we're talking about young guys, man, Tom Aspinall. Very rarely at heavyweight. I mean, we've had some good guys come through, but they still, even our heavyweight prospects, quote unquote, are in their 30s. You know what I mean? Tom Aspinall, 28 years old. And, dude, he's just wrecking fools right now. 4 wins in the UFC, all 4 via finish. This time, finishing Sergey Spivak, the 26-year-old fellow prospect, inside of 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Man, Tom Aspinall, what can you say, brother? He's looking phenomenal. What are your thoughts about him right now after that win, and also just moving forward in that heavyweight division?
I can tell you, I wasn't surprised. I predicted that one very confidently, and I told you there's a certain level to Sergey. And if Tom Aspinall is what he's projected to be, he will beat Sergey, and he did it in great fashion. I mean, first round, man. I mean, I think Tom Aspinall should fight again this year. I mean, what would that be, his 3rd, 4th fight this year? I mean, be active, man. Get on your next contract and make your money, dude. Mm-hmm. Honestly, that shit's awesome.
I believe it would be his 3rd fight this year.
Yeah, make it a 4th, honestly. He's not, I doubt he's probably hurt, and right above him is Chris Daukaus. Chris Daukaus has a fight lined up. I don't know if Sakai is available, but obviously if he gets that'd be good. I mean, I think, that'd be his next guy. I think there's any, because if he wants to do just I want to fight the guy above me, type of deal, the guy next to me or whatever. I think Sakai would be the guy right above him, but Sakai might be scheduled, so I don't know. I know Tybura, Chris Daukaus, Shamil are all scheduled, and Yarzino is scheduled with Curtis. And Volkov. So all the heavyweights are pretty much tied up.
Yeah, so there's not a whole lot they can do. I do think Sakai makes a lot of sense. He's ranked number 9 right now. He is not currently booked, so that one does make a lot of sense.
There we go. So my knowledge is put to work right there. Let's get it.
Yeah, but overall, man, I thought this was a really, really fun card. There's obviously a lot to talk about, but we'll just go and hit the next big one, and then we can go ahead and I'll let you run through some fights. But obviously the next biggest story, Paddy Palumbon, dude.
Talk about it.
He's been hyped up for years. He declined UFC contracts 2016, 2018, finally made the debut. And after a scare, near to get knocked out by Luigi Vendramin in the first round, he rebounds to put Luigi to sleep a few minutes later, dude. This was an electric performance. It's ranking, just from what I'm seeing online, a lot of people putting in their top UFC debuts of all time. What do you think about Paddy the Baddy, dude?
I'm not surprised, motherfuckers. It was what I wanted, man. There was a moment there though where I was like, oh, no way, man, no fucking way. But he brought it back in that first round, and fuck, man, it was awesome. That's what you want to see. And you saw him deal with adversity and the lights, and he got it done, and the fucking hype was there, and then the music and the walkout. It was just everything, man. He does it right. I mean, sadly, it wasn't in England how they were originally going to do it, and that the love that the people would have given would have been insane. And like you said, man, we got to bring it back eventually. Obviously, there's still things going on with COVID, and it's never ending. But I'm sure we'll see this kid again soon, and they got to get him on soon again, right? There's just no way after that he has to come back soon.
They gotta put him back soon, dude.
One more
They
time
gotta
this
keep
year.
that momentum rolling because he's the next guy, right? Like he is the now. I think it's gonna be tough for him, honestly. Like moving forward, just
Oh
like
yeah.
I mean, if you're getting almost slept by Luigi, and not to down on it, but Luigi, we know where he is. He's like top 50 guy at best, top 45 at lightweight. Um, it's gonna be tougher moving forward, but dude, if he can rack up the wins, he's the next big star, dude. They've got to be very careful with who they match him with moving forward because I mean, honestly, like I don't think he beats the top 15 guys, but damn it, if he's even hovering around there, he's a future like main eventer for sure. But yeah, man, he lived up to the hype. Obviously, I mean, you saw the entire arena going crazy for him. But as far as outside of that fight, what are some of the other fights you want to go and highlight on this? I mean, it was a pretty fun card, but relatively short card.
I mean, Josh didn't want to talk about it, but Khalil Roundtree, he did it, man. He got the win, and well, it's not controversial, but it's been talked about a lot by a lot of fighters, because of the way the fight ended. There's been a lot of opinions thrown out there, but hey, man, he did his thing and he looked good, even with, if that wasn't the way of the finish, he was doing a lot of other things that looked really great outside of that would have led to finishes as well.
Mm. And ultimately, dude, I mean, as much as there's talk about like him doing the what would be called oblique kick,
yep.
That was still just an overall great performance by him in general, and I feel like that's really being overshadowed. I mean, we know Bukakis, he's not a monster, and this was kind of a layup fight for Khalil, but he still went in there and battered him from pillar to post. So full props to Khalil. I don't have a problem with the oblique kick. Just okay, look, it's tough. I get the argument, but at the same time, if we're arguing that, then what's to stop people from arguing about like leg kicks in general? And there's also a sport where we're punching people in the face. Like this is not, you know what I mean? Like it's weird to get up in arms about that particular kick, whenever the whole point of this sport is to punch people in the face and to try and break their arm and so on and so forth. It's just strange to me. But yeah, it definitely was a little bit controversial. I saw a lot of people honestly shitting on Khalil, which I thought was pretty unfair because a lot of fighters do oblique kicks. I didn't particularly get that at all, but dude, Khalil did get the win. That's the most important part. As far as the rest of the card goes, man, obviously Alex Morono picked up a nice win. Molly McCann got a nice win. Jack Shore got a win. Julian Erosa, Charles Jourdain, one of my favorite fights of the night. That was an absolute banger. Dude, overall, it was a pretty fun card. Pretty fun card. Relatively short, but short and sweet. Our next one, obviously, there's no UFC this week. They're not going to be back until September 18th. Anthony Smith, Ryan Spann.
Weird one.
Weird main events. If you look that one top to bottom, it's a pretty weak card. But obviously, it could still be fun. Though.
Oh yeah, I don't doubt that. There's a couple names in there that are fun people and some fun names and people who come out and put on good performances. So I think that's potentially be one of those sleeper cards.
For sure. There's a lot of people on there that are actually, like, in terms of name value, there's not a whole lot. There's some fun guys. Mike Rodriguez is back. Ion Cutelaba, Devin Clark, the co-main, should be a banger.
By the way, have you seen Cutelaba recently?
He's not very good, but he's still fun fights.
No, but have you seen him? Like, have you seen pictures?
No, like physically?
Yes.
Is he jacked?
Dude, he looks juicy.
Are they not testing in Moldova?
I don't know, but I'll send you a picture right now. I can get your live reaction.
Yeah, let me just. Is he on that FPS Russia type shit, bro?
Yeah, fuck, he might be, bro. He's on. I want his fucking workout plan.
Let me. Oh my god.
Don't get me wrong. He comes in like that very often, but for some reason it looks more than usual.
Yeah, dude, he looks like a whole ass heavyweight. Jesus Christ, what are they feeding him?
Dude, I don't know. Is that guy now?
God damn, dude. Yeah, but yeah, Cutelaba, that should be a fun fight. He's always in fun fights. Jim Miller's back. Raquel Pennington, Joaquin Buckley, and then Arman Surkian, Christios Giagos. That's the banger of the card right there. That's the big
weird that's not the co-main, to be honest with you.
It's very strange to me. Obviously Arman Surkian, he's the hyped up guy, but even then, Giagos has been on a tear recently. 4 of his last 5 has only lost to card close, so it's very strange to me. But yeah, man, that's all we got for UFC talk this week.
Hey man, but we come back with a banger though. We come back with all the heat.
We come back with all the heat. And ultimately, since that's all for UFC talk this week, we've been talking about this a little bit. It's kind of be a bit of a filler week, not necessarily filler. But we're going to talk about other stuff outside of MMA. We're going to obviously end the show with talk of the Triller shit show that's going to happen. But Angel, NFL, NBA, we're going to start off with the NFL, my man. I did this last year too. I went through and I predicted all of the the final division winners.
You're doing it again.
Picked at all those. I'm gonna do it again. And just in case you guys don't want to go back and listen to it, I don't know which episode that was. I actually listened to the clip itself. That was clipped on the YouTube channel. I went 5 for 8 last year in terms of division winners. I picked the Chiefs' exact record at 14-2. I picked both the Browns and the Steelers to make the playoffs. I did kind of a hit and a miss. I said the Bucs are going to disappoint. They're going to go 9-7. They went 10-6, only off by one game, but they won the fucking Super Bowl. So that's the big one I missed on. I said Chiefs to Super Bowl 14-2. I got a bunch of shit correctly. I picked Buffalo winning the division over New England, which was a pretty big upset pick. A couple of other ones, but Angel, we're back. Season starts we're recording this early. We're recording it like Wednesday-ish. And obviously first game is tomorrow. That's going to be the Bucs and the Cowboys. That one should be just absolute bloodbath. But now it's time for division winners, my guy. There's no bigger place to start. We can just go ahead and start off in the AFC. The champs out of the AFC West. Chiefs are going to win it all. We know this is going to happen.
Let's go, champ.
Let's go, champ. You know what's going to happen. I saw Travis Kelce on the Pat McAfee show talking about we had a bad taste on our mat and we're coming back for more. And I'm like, fuck yeah, bro. Let's go.
God, I
dude,
love that, man.
I'm going to go. Now, the thing that's fucking me up is that they are going to do a 17-game season. This is the first time they're doing it. That's obviously why the preseason was 3 games rather than 4.
Why'd they change?
I said 14-2 last year. Just looking at the Chiefs' schedule, I'm gonna go 14-3. I think they're gonna get one extra loss in there. I'm not sure who it'll be against. The schedule is tougher this year as compared to last year. I mean, we're running the gambit really, but I am gonna go 14-3. I think the Chiefs are gonna win the division. If I had to guess, second place is gonna be either Raiders or Chargers. The Broncos are coming fourth just because they have no quarterback. No offense.
Come on, just call it out. Just say who it's gonna be. Come on.
No offense to Teddy Bridgewater, or Drew Lock, excuse me. But yeah, man, it's gonna be tough for them.
Come on, you don't think Derek Carr can carry this team to victory?
You know what? Here's the thing, right? The Raiders, as much as I see a lot of people trashing John Gruden, and I get it because this is season number. Fuck, it makes me feel so old because I remember when Gruden got hired because he spent like 10 years off. This is season number 4, which feels really weird to me. But they've had an upward trajectory. I could see them winning 10 games this year. I could see them sneaking into the playoffs, but they're not a title contender, not yet. That defense is just not good enough. But they have been in an upward trend. I think they're going to finish either second or the Chargers well. It's either one.
Mm-hmm.
Could be a coin flip. People like to talk about the Chargers. Chargers are the hype team this year. Just because everybody saw what Justin Herbert did last year, but dude, he put up a lot of empty stats, but that team just could not close out games.
Bro, did you see that? They put like his statistics next to Mahomes, and
they look ridiculous, right?
Yeah, they look ridiculous. But then I saw another comment that was like, okay, can you put the playoff ones?
Can you put the playoff ones? Can you actually?
And they're like, it's weird. I can't find his playoff stats for some reason.
The problem is that they're a good team, right? Let me take this back. They're a competent team. They are. They don't do
Austin Eckler. That's all I'm saying.
Shout out Austin Eckler. Shout out Keenan Allen, dude. They have a talented roster, but it's they're just not there yet. And I'm not sure when they will be there because Justin Herbert's stats look insane on paper, but you've also got to realize a lot of those games came back and scored 10 touchdowns near the end. You know, they would get blown out a couple. They're just not there yet, dude. You got to look at who they're playing.
Do they have time? Do you think they have plenty of time?
They got plenty of time, dude.
Okay.
Yeah, they're at that point now where they're good enough to beat the bad teams, but they're not good. It's a weird place to be in. It's a good place to be in. That's where the Browns are, at least last year. They're good enough to beat the bad teams, but they're not good enough yet to compete with the good ones.
Josh, the only issue they have is that they're in the AFC.
That's true. They are. I mean, they're in the conference with the Chiefs, and then I feel like a lot of people were like, "Oh, dude, like they beat them last year, and it was close the first time around." Like the Chiefs were caught off guard because they didn't know Justin Herbert was starting, and then they started, and that's why that game was so close. And then the second game, we played the backups. So yeah, congratulations on beating our backups. But yeah, dude, we'll see what happens in the AFC West. But we know it's going to be the Chiefs. I'm going 14-3. I got it exactly on the money last year. We'll see what happens this year. Let's move on down. AFC South. This one's going to be interesting. You have the Colts with Carson Wentz, the Jags with Trevor Lawrence. No Tebow, unfortunately.
Heartbreak.
Tough break. Urban Meyer, obviously in Jacksonville as well. Houston, they're in a really shitty position, but they got some vets on there, which I think can make the team fun to watch. They're not going to be very good though. Ultimately, this comes down to whether it be the Titans or will it be the Colts. I'm going to go Titans for the sole fact that we don't know when Carson Wentz will be back, how healthy he will be, or if he will even be good. Because Carson Wentz was he was terrible last year. He was legitimately the worst quarterback in the league.
Bro, but he's back with his coach. It'll be a different time, man.
He is back with his coach, but it's tough, man, because he got hurt this offseason too. I don't even know if he'll be playing week 1.
Really?
Yeah, I don't even know if he'll be playing week 1.
Never mind then.
Yeah, so it's definitely a tough thing for them. I'm gonna go with the Titans just for the fact I don't believe in the Titans as a Super Bowl winning team. But Derrick Henry, Julio Jones, AJ Brown, they have so many offensive weapons to the point where it's I see them winning enough games to win the division. I think it'll be close to them and the Colts. I could see the Colts stealing a playoff spot just because the Colts as a whole are good enough to make it into the playoffs, but I'm not sure if they're good enough to win the division, especially considering I'm sure Carson Wentz will miss time this year.
Have you seen Derrick Henry's high school stats, by the way, while we're on that?
That
picture that was viral.
Oh, isn't it he had yeah, I saw his high school stats.
Fucking ridiculous.
He had something like 1,400 carries in high school. That's childish, bro.
He was a fucking cheat code, dude. Imagine playing that guy. Imagine being our remember our high school football team, Josh? Imagine being you're playing that guy.
3 years.
Yeah, imagine them being you're playing these guys this weekend.
I just looked it up right now. He had 4,000 yards his senior year.
What a beast, right? What a fucking beast.
He averaged 9 yards a carry. 55 touchdown. Holy
in high school.
Shit.
This man was putting up NFL numbers in high school.
That's the best numbers I've probably ever seen. I know. Now, high school sports are
not even fucking NFL numbers. Fucking Madden numbers.
Those are Madden rookie numbers, bro. If you're playing on rookie. But dude, he had 1,400 carries in high school alone. That's child abuse, bro. Holy shit.
Hey man, someone allowed that to happen. That's all I'm saying.
God damn. Yeah, dude, I am gonna take the Titans though. I think Titans all the way. I'm not sure what the record's gonna be. Just the Jags and the Texans are complete ass, and I don't think the Colts are gonna be healthy enough to get it done. Now, here's the big one: the AFC North. This one, I think you can make a legitimate argument for every team. It's not a good one for the Bengals, but the fact that Joe Burrow is going to come back and be healthy, and the fact that I did like a couple of the free agency moves that they made, and a couple of the draft picks.
You really think the Steelers are going to come out of that?
The defense is good enough. The defense makes it possible. Now, obviously,
shout out Juju.
Juju is back. Obviously, he re-signed. Chase Claypool looked really, really good last year. Rosberger is washed to the high heavens, but who knows if it'll matter because that defense is so fucking good. It could happen. Obviously the Browns are Browns, dude. They were inches away from beating us last year in the playoffs, and now all they did was they added Jadeveon Clowney. They did a couple of really, really good draft picks as well. They got a couple other dudes through free agency. Dude, the Browns are fucking good.
Dude, those fucking names though, on paper, it just sound Baker Mayfield, Odell, Nick Chubb, Myles Garrett, Kareem Hunt, and that's not all of them. That's just to name a few. Is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, and I forgot to mention that Odell is back. I forgot about that. I forgot that he was hurt the second half.
Yeah, he got hurt.
Year. So now, Odell's going to be back. They're going to be healthy. They got Jadeveon Clowney, one of the top defensive ends of the league. Dude, it's definitely gonna be fun. I think this is the year for the Browns, dude. I'm not sure if they're gonna win the Super Bowl. I don't know if they're gonna make it out of the AFC at all. I am gonna take them to win the division though. I could see the Ravens having a down year. I don't know why. I just got a feeling, especially based off of last year, where the Ravens obviously the first year that Lamar Jackson started like all the games. I'm just talking about the year where he came in halfway through. Obviously he was MVP. He looked phenomenal. Last year, man, I don't want to say they got figured out because I feel like that's kind of disingenuous. But like we're starting to see now where like they're starting to struggle against some of the better teams in the league. I mean, if you look at their losses last year, Chiefs, not even close. Steelers, they lost to them twice. They lost to the Titans. They lost to the Patriots. Their wins last year, they beat the Browns in an amazing game. But outside of that, I believe the only team they beat with a winning record at all last year was the Browns. Colts as well, actually. I take that back. So I don't know, man. I just got a weird feeling. I think that the Browns are going to be good enough to take the division. I got Ravens second and Steelers third. However, if you want to put those three in any order, I would not disagree. I think it's going to be very, very close. But I've been a believer in the Browns and Baker Mayfield since day one, bro. I mean, I've talked about it before. Baker's like my favorite college quarterback of all time. So if you want, I'm biased in that attribute. But I am going to go take the Browns to win the division. Angel, moving on, man. If I'm talking too much, feel free to cut me off or ask me a question.
No, you're chilling, bro. I love it.
Moving on to the AFC East. This one's going to be interesting. I actually called last year. I called this one correct as well. I took the Bills to win the division, which was pretty controversial at the time because obviously Cam Newton was hyped up. Patriots won the division like for what? Something like 12 years in a row at that point. Something crazy. And I picked the Bills for the upset pick. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to take the Bills. Jets are complete ass. The Patriots are going to be starting Mac Jones, a rookie quarterback. I think Patriots actually be pretty good this year just because, like, dude, as much as people talk about it last year, you got to look at the talent level on that team. That talent was terrible. They have nobody, and even this year, it's not great, but it's better. They have an actual tight end in Hunter Henry. They're getting a lot of the people back that they missed because they had the most COVID opt-outs in the league. They had a lot of people that were gone last year. So for that reason alone, I don't think it's like 7-9 last year by Belichick was probably the best coaching job I've seen him do in like a long time, dude. Like it's so easy to forget, but they had so many people that were opted out or they were just gone. Like it's insane to me. So yeah, now that they're going to be fully healthy, I think Patriots are going to compete, but I'm still going to take the Bills. Dolphins will be in there as well. I like Tua a lot. I think he got a lot of unnecessary shit last year. They were one game away from making the playoffs. I like that roster a lot as well. So I think the Dolphins are going to be right there. I think the Patriots are going to be right there. It's going to be a struggle, but I am going to take the Bills to win the division. And I guess we can just roll on to the next. Now time to go on to the NFC. I'm not going to do like who's going to go to the Super Bowl and so on and so forth. Because I don't know any of that shit outside of the fact that the Chiefs are going to win it all.
I love that.
Outside of that part. But I'm just doing division stuff. And I'll throw in some other tidbits near the end there. But we can just roll into the NFC East, man. This one's going to be tough. All these teams you can make an argument for. You can also make an argument against every single one of them. I feel like the leading pick from what I've seen is the Cowboys because now with Dak healthy, Mike McCarthy having another year under his belt. I watched Hard Knocks, and they seem to be a good unit as a whole. Although at the same time, though, it's like they weren't very good last year with Dak. So it's like it's going to be tough, dude. And the Giants, Daniel Jones having another year under his belt. Saquon Barkley's back. The Eagles will not have all the Carson Wentz drama. Obviously, Jalen Hurts going to have 1 year under his belt. They got a new head coach. That should be fun. The football team, they won the division last year with a one-legged Alex Smith. So that defense is phenomenal.
Yeah, you should have picked up Gardner Minshew.
You know what? I'm surprised that Philly actually did.
But they decided to pick our boy Ryan Fitzmagic.
Fitzmagic, dude. And here's the thing, right? Fitzmagic is not all the memes about him, right? There's a reason why he's Fitzmagic, Fitztragic. If he goes out there and he just plays conservative ball, I think that the football team win the division. He does not need to be excellent. He just needs to be safe. Because that team has so many fucking weapons on the offensive side of the ball, dude. It's really underrated. like, because the quarterback situation was so bad last year, it's really forgotten. But like, Antonio Gibson is a monster. He's very, very underrated. Terry McLaurin is a straight up beast. Curtis Samuel's coming into his element. Logan Thomas is one of the best and most underrated tight ends in the league. They've got a pretty good O-line as well. And in the defense, I don't even touch on the defense. Defense is like top 5 in the league. I mean, you saw it down the stretch, dude. They were phenomenal. And obviously Taylor Heineke coming in. He's back. The monster, who put on one of the greatest, like most heroic playoff performances we've seen in a long time last year against the Bucks. I mean, I could see him starting by the end of the year. I put a lot of thought and deliberation into this. I am going to take the Cowboys. Man. Just because it sucks too. It's last year I picked the Eagles, which is a bad.
You should be picking.
I thought about it, dude, because I love Jalen Hurts.
And they got Devonte Smith now.
I think they're going to need another year to develop, dude. That's a very young team. You got to remember.
I guess you're right.
Yeah, and I like Nick Sirianni, but they're just such a young team. It's going to be really, really hard for them. I am going to go ahead and take the Cowboys just because, like, that offensive side of the ball, man, they're dangerous.
Is Ezekiel Elliott back?
Huh?
Is Ezekiel Elliott back? Didn't he get injured last season?
Yep, he's back.
Is he 100%?
He's 100%. Dak is back 100%. Amari Cooper is back. CD Lamb. Michael Gallup. That team's healthy, dude. And that team, when healthy, dude, like that, it's impossible to stop them. Honestly, like that's the way I feel. Like that. Obviously, the defense is not great, but I do like that they went out and got Dan Quinn, the former head coach for the Falcons, who led them to the Super Bowl and so on and so forth. I think this defense is going to be revamped. I think they have enough talent to not be great by any means, but I think they're going to be good enough, if that makes any sense.
That's what's up.
At the very least, just to win the division. I don't think they're going to be anything extraordinary. I could see them winning the division with 9 games, 10 games. Like, I don't think they're not Super Bowl contenders. Everybody talks about them, like the Cowboys, every single year is like, oh my God, they're a contender. I don't think they're that amazing at all. I just think they're going to be good enough to get it done in that really bad division. It's going to be them or the football team. The Giants, I like them, but I don't believe in Joe Judge. Daniel Jones seems to have regressed, but we'll see. We'll see. I could see any of those 4 teams winning it. NFC North, Packers. I don't think I need to spend a whole lot of time on this. Obviously, the Bears have the talent. They made the playoffs last year under Mitchell Trubisky, of all people. But Andy Dalton's going to be starting. Nick Foles, who knows if he'll play. Justin Fields, obviously, they drafted. There's a lot of hype on him. But, I mean, he won't be starting probably until halfway through the year. And that defense is super dangerous. Khalil Mack's one of the best players in the league. Robert Quinn's good. Alec Ogletree's good. They've got a lot of talent, dude, but I don't think it's going to be enough. So I am going to take the Packers once again. Aaron Rodgers back. I think this might be the year they do it, dude. They've gotten so close the last 2 years to the Super Bowl. I think this may be the year. But I am going to take them in the division at the very least. NFC South, damn, dude. Like, the Falcons lost Julio Jones. The Panthers have Sam Darnold. The Saints lost Drew Brees. And then we have the Super Bowl reigning champs. Jeez, I wonder who picked there. I'm going to take the Bucs, dude. I think this is going to be closer than what people think, because I actually do like the Panthers roster a lot, especially now that Christian McCaffrey's healthy. I think the Saints are going to be interesting to watch. If Jameis can cut down on the fucking turnovers, they'll be a contender, because that team is so good overall, and Sean Payton is an amazing coach. It's possible for them to win the division, but I am still going to roll with the Bucs just because, look, man, that roster, Brady has aged. People like to talk about him being like this ageless wonder. He has gotten worse over the years, but that talent is so fucking good around him that it makes up for it. Like, for all of his deficiencies he may have had gotten with age, they're good enough to go ahead and keep on moving, dude. They didn't lose a single person. Like, the Chiefs didn't lose anybody. Well, actually, I take that back. The Chiefs lost like 2 O-linemen. That was it. Bucs lost literally nobody.
I mean, it makes sense, right? They're like, why the fuck would we, change anything, right?
Yeah, and I think, here's the thing, right? It's like,
man, fuck
they've had to play around a lot with the cap in order to keep everybody, and a lot of people were taking pay cuts. I know Antonio Brown, like if Antonio Brown decided to leave, he could have gotten like a shitload of money, right? Like
But
he's
who's
a
gonna
guy.
get Antonio Brown at this point in his career with the way he's acting?
It doesn't matter, dude, because like
You think so?
he kept it in shit. Like he kept his shit in check to like.
You don't think that's because he's playing with Brady though?
It's possible, but like damn well if he was a free agent and he did not decide to take like a 1 year,
he got his ring though. There's no question about it, no.
He solidified himself, right? But had he not decided to take like that small deal, you're telling me that like a team like the Jags would not have thrown like $100 million at him?
They're like, dude, come on, we got this young kid.
Exactly. Like I guarantee you, like a team would have given him more money. But he's choosing to come back. Same for like a guy like Gronk. Gronk's not getting paid shit, if I remember correctly. Like he's not making much money at all.
Oh well, those two guys make fuck you money regardless with the fucking money.
Oh yeah, well, I mean they have the money, but you know what I'm saying here. Like they
but they're chasing legacy now, so
they are, and I don't think Gronk would play with anybody else. But like he's getting paid 1 year, $10 million. So.
Hey man, I wish I could do something for 1 year and get paid $10 million.
Fair enough, but yeah, I am going to take them to win the division at the very least. Like I don't know if the Bucks will win it all again. People seem to forget just because if you win it all, I mean, what is it? What is the phrase? Like the victors write the winners write the history books or something along those lines. Because they won the Super Bowl, a lot of their deficiencies were pretty much forgotten about how they were. They were pretty bad the first half of the year. New Orleans curb stomped them twice in a row.
My God.
I'm not being a dick. Like it's factually true.
Josh,
like
you fucking asshole. No,
Drew Brees threw the game away. He threw multiple interceptions in the fourth quarter. Had he not made a couple of mistakes, I mean
it's not like the guy was 50.
And obviously Alex Smith didn't even play. Like the football team was starting their fourth string quarterback, Taylor Heineke, in that game. The Packers, had Packers made a couple of different plays, they would have won the game. And I understand you can argue this for every single point, but it's going to be tougher for them to make it back than what people think is what I'm trying to say. Everybody seems to think Tampa Bay just got that shit locked up. I don't necessarily believe that. But I mean, moving on down, one more to go. This is the toughest team. This is like the toughest one to pick every single year. The Cardinals, who are stacked, my guy.
Let them know, bro.
Kyler Murray, DeAndre Hopkins, fucking AJ Green, Larry Fitzgerald. Like they have, like they are surrounded by monsters, right? Like they just are ridiculous. They got James Conner now, like
JJ Watt,
JJ fucking Watt, Demetrius Harris, who
guy.
came over from the Chiefs, Max Williams. Like they got so much talent, dude. Like on paper, this is one of the most stacked teams in a long time. But that's why they call it on paper, dude. Because I'm not sure if they're ready, and that's the problem with them getting JJ Watt. Because JJ Watt wants to compete immediately, but like I feel like they're still 1 year away. Like everybody talks about like them like on paper, but like Kyler Murray is still insanely young. Like that O-line still has a lot of work to do in terms of gelling. That running back room, I like James Conner a lot, but he's still relatively injury prone. Chase Edmonds is very, very young. Like it's going to be tougher for them than what people think to actually move on. Because everybody talks about them being like this 12-win, 13-win team. It's just like if you actually watch the games, if you're not just looking at fantasy, because Kyler Murray's the GOAT fantasy quarterback. If you actually watch the games, there's still a lot they need to work on. So I'm actually not going to take the Cardinals to win the division. They're the trendy pick. I'm not going to take them, though. Rams, everybody believes in them. Matthew Stafford. 49ers are going to be healthy with Jimmy G this year.
Seahawks, man. That's who you're going to pick.
Seahawks looking like Russell Wilson was an MVP contender last year for a reason. I'm going to go Rams, man. I'm going to go Rams.
Shit. Okay.
I know. It's going to be I'm going the upset pick. The Rams, last year, they were actually very, very good. They finished second in the division, made the playoffs, beat the Seahawks, just blew them the fuck out. This year, man, they got a couple of guys. They got a guy called, I don't know, fucking Matthew Stafford. Probably the most underrated quarterback for the last 10 years at the very least. You can go look at his Wikipedia page. Dude has like every single quarterback record like in recent times. He's still only a one-time Pro Bowler, and he doesn't have many accolades because he played in Detroit. But dude, his numbers are just insanity. He's been playing with nobody.
He's a loyal man.
He is, but he finally decided it's time to move on. This team's not going to win anything. He's going to a Rams team that has, they just got Sony Michel in free agency. They got Deshaun Jackson. They got Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp. And that defense, I don't even need to touch on because that defense is full of monsters, dude. Aaron Donald, obviously probably the best defensive player in the league, period. Jalen Ramsey, and they also have some of the best special teams in the league with Johnny Hecker, Matt Gay. They top to bottom, that team is excellent. So I'm gonna go ahead and take the Rams. Who's gonna follow them? I have no idea. You can argue any of those 4 teams. That's how good the NFC West is. Even the 49ers last year finished 6-10. The 49ers finished 6-10 last year with no quarterback. So I don't know, dude. It's truly up in the air. I could see any of those teams coming in that order. I'm just gonna take the Rams to win the division though. And that's just my kind of bold pick. I think you pick any of those 4 teams and have an equal chance of winning. So Angel, now you go with all your season predictions.
Oh man. Okay, Josh. Let me break it down. Imagine.
All right, dumbass. Now it's my turn.
Now for the real predictions.
The real prediction. But Angel, I know you mentioned that you might have a couple of questions. What are stuff you want to touch on? Because I know that you're getting into NFL, we talked about it all last year. It seems like you're genuinely interested, but you don't follow it as closely. What are some of the questions, some of the stuff you want to touch on?
Who has the most expectations this year, Josh? What team has the most expectations out of both sides?
Out of the AFC and the NFC?
Yeah. We'll do one of each. I think that'd be fair.
It's interesting. On the AFC side, I don't feel like there's any particular hyped up team. Obviously the Chiefs are hyped up, but that's for good reason. They won the Super Bowl, went back last year.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of hype, there's not any overly hyped up team, I'll say. At least from what I've seen. There's a couple of different teams. If I had to say one, there's an expectation for one particular team to take the next step. I would say it's probably the Browns or the Titans. Okay. The Browns are a very trendy pick, and I did pick them partially because I'm very, very biased towards the Browns, just because I love Baker Mayfield. I have a lot of good memories of watching that man at Oklahoma. So I'm biased for that attribute. But they got very, very close last year, and they added Jadeveon Clowney, who's one of the best defensive players in the league. Granted, he's been injury prone, but still one of the best defensive players in the league. And they're adding back OBJ, and they're having another year in that system, and so on and so forth. The Browns are very hyped up. Titans are also very hyped up. I also took them to win the division. Really just because, for all intents and purposes, they're the same team as last year. They didn't really get any big overly new pieces outside of Julio Jones. And Julio Jones is still one of the best receivers in the league if he is healthy. He's been kind of hurt the last 2 years. He's getting up there in age. I believe he's 33. But if Julio is even 75% of what he still is, Titans should be, at the very least, conference championship in that realm of one of the last 4 teams. Going NFC side, dude, it's got to be the Cardinals or the Bucks. The Bucks, everybody just kind of assumes that they're going to sleepwalk through to the Super Bowl again. And I get it, because obviously they smashed the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. But like I said, you got to remember how those games went and who was not there. The Chiefs were running a completely different O-line. That's something I can't stress enough. If you're somebody who only watched the Super Bowl, that's not the Super Bowl. That's not the Chiefs that played against the Browns, against the Bills, so on and so forth. From the start of the season to the ending, they had 5 different O-linemen. Technically 4, but I believe our guy was Mike Remmers. He was on the original O-line, but he was playing in a different position. He was originally the backup, the starting left tackle, but they had to move to right guard or something because they didn't have anybody. So it was an entirely different unit. That's why the Buccaneers just completely smashed them with their D-line. That was a terrible matchup. But yeah, Bucks are hyped up because they didn't lose anybody. Cardinals are hyped up just because they went out and they got J.J. Watt. They have a bunch of different pieces. They got fucking A.J. Green. And so for that reason, they're very, very hyped up. But they're in the toughest conference. And still, Cliff Kingsbury, I think, is actually a very good coach. He gets a lot of shit, but I think he's a very good coach. But he's still very, very young, and Kyler Murray's also still very, very young. So it's going to be tough for them to make the Super Bowl, especially coming out of the NFC for that reason alone.
That's what's up. That's what's up. And then who has the least expectation? Who has nothing to lose this season? Who needs to go out there and just fucking go wild, man?
From both conferences again?
Yeah, we can do that. Unless you think there's only one. There's a particular one that sticks out.
You know what? I'll highlight two teams. I'll highlight one from each. One of these is more clear than the other. But dude, the Houston Texans. God damn. Like
I'm sorry.
God damn. They have. Let's just run it down, dude. I mean, they lost DeAndre Hopkins before last year. J.J. Watt left the team. Deshaun Watson's still on the team, but he has 24 sexual assault allegations against him. So they can't play him. Like, he hasn't been officially suspended yet because he's under investigation. But they also can't play him because it's like because he doesn't want to play for the team because he wants to be traded.
Yeah,
so
good luck with that.
He's refusing to be traded, but teams don't want to trade for him unless they have pick protections because he might be gone for forever. Like, and so he's the third string. They're starting Tyrod Taylor, who is actually a very competent quarterback, made the Pro Bowl once or twice. He's more of a game manager than anything, but he's still pretty good. I mean, and look, they don't have too many. I mean, they got Chris Conley coming back, who's actually a very underrated receiver. Brandon Cooks is still there, but a lot of these guys are just older vets with something to prove, dude. Particularly on the offensive side of the ball, they went out and signed Danny Amendola, former Patriot. They signed Mark Ingram, Rex Burkhead, David Johnson, Philip Lindsay. A lot of these dudes on the team are just older guys with something to prove. And so for that reason alone, they are dangerous. Not to win the division, but to steal a couple games. So I could see them going out there just playing balls out, like you said, just throwing everything against the wall. David Coley, who is, I want to say, the oldest head coach in the league. He's up there. He's 65. And he's never been head coach before. He's honestly gotten a lot of shit because, like, no team he's been a part of has been extraordinary. Like, he's been like a wide receivers coach. He was actually the wide receivers coach whenever the Chiefs did not have a single wide receiver touchdown in 2017. He was the Baltimore Ravens assistant coach. He doesn't have a whole lot of hype around him, but I've liked the way he's handled himself so far. So I'm going to go and take the Texans. I could see the Texans being like a team to steal a couple games. They have no expectations, though. Jags are, if you're talking like runner-up in the AFC, it's the Jags. NFC, though, it's the Lions, 100%. Not because, like, the Lions, dude, let me ask you this. Have you heard anything about their head coach, Dan Campbell?
I have not. Why? Is he in some shit?
Dude, he is the funniest head coach. Like, he is legitimately fucking hilarious.
Wait, is he the guy who's like hella talking shit on the mic?
He's always talking shit. He's cutting like WWE-esque promos, dude. Just Google Dan Campbell. I'm sure you like.
I think I probably. You know what's funny? I probably heard it and I just don't remember it. Now that you mentioned that,
dude, he was like he's fucking hilarious. Like, he was a former. I know he was a player. I think he was tight end. Don't quote me on that. But he's relatively young. I think he's like 40. But dude, he's just a really funny guy, and you can tell that he gets the job. Like, you can tell he's a hell of a motivator. I think, like, he said, like, you know, whenever he first got hired, like, you know, we got to be tough out there. We gotta go and smash in some kneecaps. You know what I'm saying? Like, just like, and then like he cut like a former player like who's with the Lions for a long time. He didn't cut him. Like, he was just like he wanted to retire, but they had to cut him after like a certain point. And they're like, why'd you cut this guy? He's like, oh, you know, I'm just a fucking asshole. You know, like, just.
Oh wow.
He's just a good talker, and you can tell the team's rallying around him. And they have no expectation because that team doesn't have a whole lot of talent. They got Jared Goff, but Jared Goff has something to prove because he got run out of L.A. That team doesn't have a whole lot of talent. There's no real expectations for this year. But I'll be damned if that team's not going to be fun to watch, at the very least, just because of, you know, Big Dan Campbell down there, bro. I'm very excited for the Lions, dude, just because, like, I don't think they're going to be good. You can tell they got something to prove. They got a chip on their shoulder. They have no expectation to actually win, though.
I like that. And then out of the, you know, outside of Trevor Lawrence and the Rooks, who are you interested in watching? Who do you think is in an interesting situation? Is it Zach Wilson, Devonte Smith? Who is there any guy you kind of want to keep an eye out for? Kind of a guy who interested you?
So you said outside of the Rooks or including the Rooks?
No, outside. I want to say outside of Trevor Lawrence in particular, because we already.
Outside. Yeah. Okay.
Because we have an expectation. We've talked about this. I mentioned to you multiple times how and you to me how we've known Trevor Lawrence for the longest fucking time, and I knew Trevor Lawrence, and I wasn't even watching football.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. So there's a couple of different guys I'm going to touch on. Now, some of these are going to be rookies, some of these are not going to be rookies. Devonte Smith, he's a huge guy to watch. But even more than Devonte Smith, I'm going to go Jalen Hurts. Because obviously Devonte, I think we all kind of have the expectations. We've been seeing him wreck shit at Alabama for a while. We know how good he is. I'm going to go Jalen Hurts because this is a guy that last year was pretty up and down. He's the guy that we saw at Alabama start for 3 years, get run out by Tua, started Oklahoma, nearly won the Heisman, so on and so forth. In Philly last year, in 4 games, he had some ups, he had some downs. He had to win out the job. He had to beat Joe Flacco, I believe, which is, he had to beat out Joe Flacco and Gardner Minshew for the starting job, which he did. He's a guy to watch, for sure, 100%. And then the 2 other guys I'm going to go ahead and say to watch, Clyde Edwards-Helaire for the Chiefs. This is a guy that
man, so much love.
So much love for this man. He obviously was drafted in the first round. He looked like he was going to live up to the hype, and I think he did for his rookie season. However, he got hurt near the end, and he didn't play a whole lot during the playoffs because of that. He missed 3 games to end the season, and then he only played in the conference championship game, but he only played like a handful of snaps. And the Super Bowl he barely played as well. And yeah, man, like this is a guy that he's a very interesting guy, right? Because he had a lot of hype coming out of college. The Chiefs literally drafted him because Patrick Mahomes saw him and was like, yeah, I like that guy. I like his talent. Go ahead and get him. We need a running back. Go get him. And a lot of people felt like the Chiefs overdrafted. And he looked pretty good, but that offensive line was terrible. He missed a lot of time to end the year. Will he be able to keep some of that momentum that he had at one point? Will he be able to retain that? That's the interesting part. That's the interesting thing. He's the clear number 1 now. He split time last year at times, and obviously we had Damon Williams. Looked like maybe Damon Williams was going to come back, but then we released him, and now he's with the Chicago Bears. So this is his team. That's his running back room. The last guy I'm going to touch on, and he's a 2-year guy, so not a rookie, but 2-year guy. Last guy, AJ Green. AJ Green, for the longest time, was a top receiver in the league. If you didn't have AJ Green in your top 5, then what the hell are you doing, man? This is a guy that of his first, I want to say 7 seasons, they were all 1,000-yard seasons in Cincinnati with Andy Dalton. Since 2018, he's been very hurt. He's been very injury prone. You could argue he's been not playing with great talent. You can argue he has not been getting 100%. He got a 1-year, $6 million deal to go play with the Cardinals, which are a very hyped-up team. He's 33 years old. Will he be able to retain some of that magic that he had from 2010 to 2017? That's the fun part, dude. This is a guy that's not played very much. Will he be able to capture some of that magic and bring it back in a team where he's very hyped up? There's a lot of expectations. He's a guy to watch, man. Obviously, he's no longer the number 1. He's no longer being forced passes. He's going to be the number 2. DeAndre Hopkins is the number 1. There's also a bunch of other guys. So it's going to be very, very interesting to do. Those are my 3 top guys to watch. And those may be outside picks, but Jalen Hurts, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and AJ Green. So,
bro, just to touch up on one little thing. Do you remember at the start when they had drafted it was actually quite after, I think they were doing a camp, and it was Gardner Minshew and Trevor Lawrence. You're like, oh yeah, we're gonna be on the team together, and we're gonna be I don't even know, right? And then fucking a few maybe a month passes and they trade my boy Gardner Minshew. Or I don't know if he got traded. I don't know exactly what happened. But
he got traded.
Yeah, he got traded to Philly, which I mean, yeah, he can still play there maybe. But I mean, I'm just like, damn, they've done my boy Gardner Minshew dirty. I get it, but still. Just the fact that I wanted to mention that report because I was just I remember it, and I was like, I remember initially reading it, and I was like, oh. There was a vibe there, and it wasn't it was yeah, kind of awkward-ish, but they're like, yeah, dude, yeah, we'll be fine. But no, it's no, we're not gonna be fine.
Yeah, and you know what's funny is like they did that whole quote unquote quarterback competition between him and Trevor Lawrence, and like I think it's probably just because like look, I'll say this much: Jacksonville, I think they're going to be pretty bad this year. I think Urban Meyer's like a great offensive mind, but dude, Travis Etienne, like their second pick, like in the first round, he's going to be gone for the entire season, which is a huge hit.
Sure.
And I feel like, but outside of that, like they've done everything right in my opinion. They put some pressure on Trevor Lawrence to play good in the preseason. There's no way they were going to give him the starting job, but they said it was a competition, quote unquote. And he looked great. And he won the starting job. I thought, here's my conspiracy theory. You know how they had Tim Tebow on the team?
Yeah.
I honestly think they only brought in Tim Tebow because I'm sure he wanted to play. Like I'm sure this is not like a thing on his end of Urban Meyer calling him up and saying this, but like I think the only reason they brought in Tim Tebow was to bring some attention off Trevor Lawrence because that's a guy that like is the OG most hyped up player of all time. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like
calculated.
I feel like it was calculated 100% because after the preseason they immediately cut Tebow.
It's so fucked up.
And they also had, and they also went ahead and did the thing where like Trevor Lawrence in the quarterback competition, so it took some attention off of him, put him on Gardner Minshew. I think they probably just played it really well to where now this kid, like they've kept him out of the media spotlight, and I think they've done a really, really, really good job on that. So, yeah, I mean, I feel bad for Gardner Minshew because like I don't think he's very good, but he's a fun personality for sure.
Man, do my man dirty.
I could see him starting in Philly. If I brought up Jalen Hurts, if he starts going downhill, 100% they will start.
Just you wait. Gardner Minshew's gonna lead this team to a championship. Just you fucking wait, Josh. Just you fucking wait.
Franchise quarterback Gardner Minshew gonna.
Just you fucking wait, man. Everybody will see his true fucking talent.
Gonna go balls out, dude. You know what my favorite quote from Gardner Minshew is?
Oh, let me hear it.
He in preparation for the quarterback competition, they asked him what he was doing. He said, "Man, I haven't even been taking shits. I ain't number two. I don't take twos. I'm going number one." Like it's just,
I like that. I like that fucking energy. Too bad it didn't work out, but
didn't work out. But
maybe you should have gone number 2 one time just to test it out.
We'll see though. We'll see, man. But yeah, dude, is that all the NFL talk you got?
Oh yeah, I think you went through everything beautifully, man. You always cut it, and obviously, once the season gets going, we'll be able to get into some interesting, more specific topics and kind of like whatever crazy shit happens. Because obviously, the COVID season was a crazy one, and I mean, obviously, as from us, being here in Kansas, obviously we always have a certain expectation now with the team, right? So you'll definitely hear us talking about it on a pretty regular basis, and let's go, champ. Let's go, champ. We're coming back.
Yeah, I mean it's gonna be fun, dude. I mean, look, MMA is my sport. MMA it's my jam. But obviously that's what I cover as like part of my job. But like, man, football is my first love. Like I've always loved football, bro. Like so I'm glad we get to talk about it on the show, even if it's for like a smaller portion, even if it's just for like, every once in a while. I still love to talk about it.
She's that chick from high school you can't forget about.
Say that again?
She's that chick from high school you just can't forget about.
But yeah, dude, like that was a good segment, I thought. Maybe you guys didn't like it. If you didn't like it, then
fuck you.
Skip forward. No,
I'll keep it real,
fuck
dude.
you.
I'll keep it real with them, dude. Just fuck them.
Gotta keep it real. But Angel, that's not the only ball talk we have on this show.
Ball. Okay, so now we're gonna be talking about a different kind of ball.
Yeah, it's a basketball.
Or basketballs.
Yeah, basketballs. Yeah. This segment will be shorter than the football one. We spent about half an hour on football, longer actually. That segment went pretty long, but I'm cool with it. NBA, we'll be talking about it a little bit, not as much because obviously we'll have to do a season preview in like a month or two. But we're gonna run down some of these big moves. We've been waiting a while to actually talk about this, but Angel, my guy, it was hectic. It was pretty fucking hectic. There were a lot of moves that were done. A couple of teams that like have come out of the woodwork to actually make a lot of big moves. And we'll just run a couple of these down, dude. We'll start off at the top. Now, I went through CBS list. They had a great list of free agents, the top 150, and it showed their destination. I picked out some of these bigger teams, some of these bigger moves that were done, and we're going to go and talk about the teams involved. There's no bigger place than LA, dude. That's the big one. I feel like they're the talk of the NBA. Obviously, last year they lost to the Suns in the first round. First time LeBron ever went out in the first round. Obviously, they were hurt, which ultimately played into that. But Suns were hurt too, so I feel like that's kind of a bad excuse to use. But ultimately, dude, they did not rebuild. They reload. Obviously, 1 year after winning the title, they were gone in the first round. This time, they went out and they brought some people back from that championship winning team. They got a couple other pieces as well. We're going to just run them down. Obviously, Russell Westbrook, former MVP, last year was on the Wizards and played phenomenally. He's the big one. He's a part of the big three now. But they did go out and get a couple of other pieces, including some guys that were on the championship winning squad to begin with. Dwight Howard, Rajon Rondo, both returning. They also went out and got Kent Bazemore, who's still, a little past his best, but still a pretty good guy. They went out and got DeAndre Jordan, formerly of the Nets. And they also went out and got LeBron's buddy. Years after being drafted, they're finally going to play together for the first time. Carmelo Anthony is now a Laker as well. What do you make of some of these moves? Do you think that after all of this time, after all these acquisitions, everybody's talking about the Lakers. Do you think they're the team to beat now?
I feel like the Lakers are always a kind of, even when they're not good, they're always kind of a team to beat. Obviously now with the names they got. And look, I feel like it's like your typical LeBron team, just with bigger names, and obviously they're a lot older. But he likes his veterans. He likes the guys to know their shit. You know what I mean? All these guys know their role on the team, and I think this is exactly what LeBron wants. Because let's be real, we know that LeBron has a major, and I mean major, impact on team building. Mm-hmm. As much as he can, at least, as much as they're willing to allow him. I'm sure the Lakers have given him plenty. If he owns Toronto, he can own LA.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure that, like I said, this is probably like, for him, this is like fucking dream right now, dude. He's foaming at the mouth of happiness that they were able to build this squad.
I'm sure, dude. And look, like, there's a lot of guys, like, people are talking about like how old they are, and they are for sure the oldest team in the league. Like, there's no argument about that. But a lot of these guys are older, yes, but they still have some juice left, and in the right positions, it'll make a huge difference. Like, Carmelo still has some juice if he's in the right position. Will he be getting starter minutes? Probably not. Yeah, but like, still, Carmelo coming off the bench, dude, could still make plays. Dwight Howard coming off the bench could still make plays. Rajon Rondo still has the mental acuity. He's still a fucking master on the floor. So yeah, all these dudes, they're not going to be getting starter minutes. Yeah, they're older, but like, dude, that big three of Westbrook, LeBron, and AD. First of all, I think it's going to be a weird mix. I think it's take some time to figure it out, 100%. But once they do, I'll be goddamn if that talent level on that team, and also the veteranness. Like, here's the thing, like, these guys are older, but dude, they've been there before. This is not some young team that's going in there. They've been there before. They know what it's like. I will not be surprised in the slightest if they come out of the West. They're the team to beat for that reason alone. I think come November, December, they're going to struggle just because it's going to take some time for them to get rolling. But once they get on fire, dude, like, I don't think they're going to stop. But that's not the only team. There's a couple other teams we're going to run down. Like I said, these are some of the, obviously there's other free agency moves, which I'm sure, like, if we don't touch on the team, we'll go over them in a couple of weeks or so, month or two. But moving on down to the Heat, they were a team that also struggled. They also made the NBA Finals 2 years ago during peak COVID times. And look, dude, now they struggled a lot last year. They were swept, I believe, by the Bucks. After nearly sweeping the Bucks the year before. So how about that? And they went out and they got a couple of guys. The key acquisition, Kyle Lowry from the Raptors. Obviously, he's Toronto royalty, and he's been one of the best point guards in the East for quite a while now. But he did officially leave. He's going to Miami. They also picked up Duncan Robinson in the offseason. They also re-signed Victor Oladipo, who did not play much last year due to injury. Completely forgot he was on the Heat at times. Now he re-signed. What do you think about some of those acquisitions, particularly Lowry going to Miami?
They're another team that's kind of like stacked. Did they re-sign Goran Dragic? I don't know.
I believe so.
So yeah, they still got Dragic. They got Jimmy Butler. They got fucking Bam Adebayo. They got Duncan Robinson, Tyler Hero. Kyle Lowry. It's another stacked fucking team. And Oladipo. and some other young guys in there. I mean, they are fucking, they're set for greatness. I mean, they're another team that, and like I said, last year during COVID time, I mean, they did not, I don't know if they were injured, it was COVID protocol. They really didn't have their full team for a lot of the year, so I'll be curious to see what they do. Obviously, another solid team, some good pickups. I mean, just depending if they're able to get that kind of fire they had during 2020.
For sure, man. And ultimately, if they were on fire during that whole playoff run that they had. They looked phenomenal, and I think that I don't know if they played above their expectations. Because I thought last year's squad was more talented than their NBA Finals team. Now, obviously, they had a lot of injuries, so that's probably it, but still, they were pretty disappointed. But I think the fact that they went out and got Kyle Lowry is going to be huge for them. I think the fact that Oladipo is going to be healthy is also going to be huge. So, yeah, I like a lot of the moves that they made. Moving on, dude, the Knicks. New York Knicks last year made the playoffs the first time in seemingly forever. And promptly got bounced in the first round. That was a fun series ultimately against the Hawks, but they still got bounced. They went out and they made a couple of big moves, dude, particularly in the point guard, shooting guard category. The guard category, I should say. Evan Fournier got picked up. Kemba Walker got picked up. D Rose re-signed. And Nerlens Noel also re-signed. What are your thoughts on the Knicks and a couple of moves that they made?
I mean, those are all solid pickups. I mean, like I said, dude, fucking Julius Randle just disappeared in the playoffs. I mean, he looked fucking good, but when it was on his time to shine, he just didn't. There was nothing there. I mean, he really lacked, and even with these pickups, who knows what the difference it will make. I mean, their team obviously they put a good series up against the Hawks, and seeing how far the Hawks went. Obviously, if they win that. Do they have the same results? Who fucking knows? Probably not. But maybe they do, maybe they don't. Maybe now with these pickups, they imagine themselves in that kind of situation again, and they think that they could be in the position that the Hawks could have been, and obviously find themselves in a championship scenario. Whether or not that ends up happening, like I said, I think that's dependent of one individual, rising up to the occasion, and then him along with the other pieces kind of blending well together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and overall, I like the moves they made. Like I said, Julius Randle pretty much disappeared in the playoffs. Had they not done that, I think they would have gone a lot further. I do like the pickup of Kemba. I like the fact that it's re-signed D Rose. I like him at Fournier. I've always thought he's pretty underrated, so I like that move. So obviously, that's it's gonna be an interesting squad to watch moving forward, especially considering if Julius Randle continues to improve, they'll be dangerous.
Oh yeah, and they got some other young guys in there who are really good.
They do.
Toppin, Emmanuel Quickly. Fucking RJ Barrett. I mean, they got a lot of. I mean, they're chilling. I mean, they got their vets and then they got their youth, so they're in a good spot.
They'll be good. Moving on to the next team, though. This team, I mean, look, 76ers. They re-signed Andre Drummond and Danny Green. I think the bigger news, though, is obviously coming out of the fact that Ben Simmons, he's gone, dude. Like he said, he's not coming back. What do you think of the 76ers outlook for 2021 now that we have that news? Obviously they re-signed a lot of the roster outside of that. What are your outlook on them for next year?
They're fucked. They're fucked because their team construction is fucking atrocious. They have a good coach. They were never able to fix Ben Simmons, and then you have Joel Embiid, who's really good, but if he gets hurt, it's like that's it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they're the heart and soul of their team, the original process. If he's out, I mean, your team just shits itself. Like they can't rely on whoever else they have to be successful and get wins because your guy, who's a big man, is prone to getting injured. And it's not like it's fully his fault. Obviously, it's just some players just get injured more easily, and it's just a part of their career, and it sucks. But it's like you knew this from day one. You drafted him, and I don't blame you, right? He's super fucking talented. He's capable of a lot, but once again, they made him cry again in the playoffs. And I'm not saying that to be an asshole. It's just the reality of the way this team is built.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's going to be tough. Obviously, I think the whole Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid thing, we knew it was not going to work. I mean, especially after last year, like we knew that they had peaked out. They have. Like they're not going to win a title with them. Those two working on the same team. It's just not going to work. However, because Ben Simmons is doing this so late, there's not any other pieces for them to get in free agency, and I'm not sure what sort of haul they can get for him. So they're fucked. like you said it. Like they had he done this at the end of last year after they had lost, it'd be a completely different story because they'd be able to go out and get somebody in free agency. They'd be able to go out and maybe make a better trade. These other teams would be looking. Now most teams are content. They have who they have. And Ben Simmons isn't going to be reporting. So now they're just not going to have Ben Simmons, and they're also not going to have any other pieces. So yeah, they're fucked. But we'll see what happens.
Wait, he's pulling a JR? He's just not going to show up?
He's not going to show up from what I've heard.
Respect.
Fair enough, respect. But moving on down, the Celtics, dude. Celtics are a very interesting team. The talent level is there. They were hurt last year. They didn't do a whole lot in the playoffs. But now they went out and they got a couple pieces, a couple guys that are good but maybe overlooked. Dennis Schroeder, obviously he was really, really hyped up going into LA. He really disappointed in the playoffs though. And they also got Enes Kanter. What do you thought particularly about the Celtics moving into next year? I know that they're a team that a lot of people thought they might make some free agency moves. In the end, these are the only two guys that they really acquired.
I mean, they have a lot of youth, and they're a fun team. I mean, obviously their main guy is Jason Tatum along with Jaylen Brown, but mainly Jason Tatum. So bringing in Dennis Schroeder, obviously Kemba out, solid at center. Obviously, I mean, they brought Kanter back because Kanter was there at one point, and I don't know what the fuck happened there, but I guess they're like, something like the guy, we'll bring him back. And and obviously, the one big thing with Kanter, obviously, whenever the playoffs happen, it's usually around Ramadan, and he has to adjust to that, and he's done it multiple times now, so he has his whole deal. But still, if it affects him, it's hard. You burn a lot of calories in basketball, believe it or not. And so there's a couple interesting pickups. I don't know. I think they're a fun team, though. I think they're a team that's if they're not like crazy stacked. I mean, that's some stacked names, though. I'm not gonna lie to you. On paper, it's a solid team. Don't get me wrong. It's pretty nutty, but we've seen some crazier squads in recent time. I think they're fun. They're a fun team. They're a fun little group there, and I think, if you want to check out a group of young guys who maybe aren't going to win now, but maybe in the future and are really competitive, I think those are a group of guys you can watch right there. I feel like they could get some good wins and some good upsets, but how far in the playoffs? That's a different story, just based on matchup.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is going to be tough for them. I think that they are a very young team and they have a lot of potential. I think last year was a bit of an anomaly, them getting bounced so quick. I think they have they have a very high talent level, and I think Dennis Schroeder, he's a guy that a lot of people are shitting on him, particularly for his performance in the playoffs. I personally watched him in OKC. I think last year was a bit of an anomaly in terms of the fact that he looked so bad. I don't think that's going to be the same moving forward. But obviously, we'll see. Are there any particular free agency moves that I did not highlight, or any other teams in general that you want to go and highlight and just talk about their offseason?
Not off the top of my head, not specifically. I mean, I think we did pretty good with what we had. Mm-hmm. Unless there's another one that you have that you want to bring up real quick.
I can't think of any. I think we did a pretty good job, just because it's so tough to talk about this whenever we're not doing a season not predictions or whatever until next month. So. Yeah, I think we went and did a relatively good job of recapping. We're never going to hit that 1 hour, a 2-hour podcast we had that one time, 2 years ago, about the NBA. I don't think we're going to hit that, but obviously I think we did a pretty good job recapping.
We could try.
We try. But Angel, my guy, look, man, it's time. We got to talk about it. This weekend was supposed to be a boxing card in California. Oscar De La Hoya's return, the Golden Boy after 13 years gone against Vitor Belfort. They actually got me hyped for that matchup just because I
thought that was fun too.
It was weird because Oscar's clearly the better boxer, but he's older. He's actually not that old. He's old. He's less old than you think. I believe
47, right?
47, but he retired at 34. So he's relatively he's not as old as a Tyson. He's younger than what a lot of people think. He's clearly the much better boxer. But what shape he's going to come in, he's a smaller guy. There were so many different factors against a guy like Vitor that made it interesting. Well, he pulled out. Oscar has COVID. He's in the hospital, or at least he was in the hospital. And in steps, and they're moving the card to Florida for this reason, because California will not sanction this man, Evander Holyfield, the real deal Holyfield, 57-year-old Evander Holyfield, stepping in on 1 week notice. Now, I should say he has been training. He's supposed to have a exhibition match against Kevin McBride that was canceled whenever Tiafimo got COVID, but he has been training. But he is still stepping in on about 8 days notice. He's stepping in for this 8-round, 2-minute round fight. It will go on the professional records. This is not an exhibition.
Shit.
This is not an exhibition.
It's just an exhibition.
Throw in the goddamn towel. No, but yeah, this is an actual fight, which is very, very compelling to me. It's very, very interesting. Should it be happening? No. In fact, I think it's pretty gross. But what are your thoughts on the new matchup? And we can get into the preview in a minute, but what are your thoughts on the new matchup and the fact they're moving the card to Florida?
It's a little fucked, man. It really is. Like, I don't know why they're doing this. I think it. And by the way, he's suing Triller.
He was suing Triller, or he was going to. I don't believe that lawsuit actually officially got filed though.
Hey man, it's the fact that it's even a conversation. And he's gonna fight for them is.
It is embarrassing. Although I will say this though, that was the reason. I think that was kind of a tough situation because they were going to do that. The reason why he was suing is because he could not fight with Kevin McBride. He's supposed to fight him whenever Teofimo on that card, but Teofimo got COVID, and that fight's been postponed multiple times. So that's why he tried to sue him. From my understanding, that has been resolved though, because he's now going to be fighting Vitor.
We'll see how that goes.
Yeah, we'll see. But I don't have much interest in this. I'm somebody who's I'll say.
I just don't want to watch it though.
No, I'm gonna watch the shit out of it, but
because there's nothing else to watch.
Yeah, there's no fighting this weekend. I'll throw it on. I'll go to my local Buffalo Wild Wings. I'm not gonna pay for it for the full pay-per-view price, but I'll go to my local Buffalo Wild Wings.
I don't know. I might support him.
Well, I'll ask about what stream you're gonna watch in a minute, but yeah, dude, like I don't have much interest in this. Like whenever they had Oscar, they brought me in. I actually saw some interviews with Oscar. He seemed motivated, and did you watch him on the Mike Tyson podcast?
No, but I saw a clip and he looked pretty calm. Like
he looked. I'll say this much about Oscar De La Hoya. He's not a perfect guy. He's not I mean, you can argue about like the ethics of the fight. If should be coming back. I think Oscar De La Hoya is a very misunderstood guy to a degree. And I feel kind of bad for him, dude. Like he's this guy that like he's one of the greatest boxers of all time. Do you feel comfortable saying that? Like at the very least in that weight class. Like he's
up there for sure.
And I think the fact that like he had the pictures come out of him like in women's clothing, and he's had drug issues, and a lot of people hate him now because he's a promoter. I feel like people really shit on him like for like a lot of unjust reasons because of that. Because like I'm not gonna get into like stuff I talked about like on the podcast, but Oscar's had like a rough fucking life, dude. Like I feel bad for the guy to a degree, and that's more of the reason like.
Did you listen to it? Is it good? Is it worth the listen?
It's very much worth the listen. Him and Tyson, because they both come from a similar background. Oscar didn't really Mike. Like his mother was a prostitute. Oscar didn't really have much of a relationship with his mom. They were actually both Mike. They both revealed this on the podcast. Oscar was raped at the age of 13, and Mike was at the age of 9, I believe. And they both come from that really fucked up background where they both had to fight for their lives, really. And I feel like Oscar gets a lot of shit, partially because of honestly Dana White, because those two have a whole beef. And it's entertaining, but like I feel bad for Oscar, dude. Like this, yeah, no wonder the guy has some mental issues. Like if boxing makes him happy, then let him go off. But you know what? They brought me in. They pulled me in. This Evander thing, like if it was an exhibition, that's one thing. This man should not be in a legitimate fight with TRT Vitor. Like what the fuck? Like this is the ethics of this is terrible.
I'm sure they can. I'm sure it might change the night of though. I'm sure they might be able to stop it. I think there's still time. I'm sure like Florida. I'm sure the Florida boxing commission might be like, you know something, maybe we shouldn't do this. I'm sure there's some sort of talk of it might not even have. Like I'm sure like now it might seem, but just because it doesn't mean rumblings aren't occurring amongst behind closed doors of like, we don't know about this.
From what I've heard of this, and this is just what I personally heard about the situation, it is full steam ahead. They are going to do it as a sanctioned professional bout. However, Florida is still currently having talks internally as far as about it, because they've all the other fights, actually including Hey Fournier by the California State Athletic Commission, got bumped down to an exhibition.
Really? That is dirty fucks.
Yeah, but by the way, California is the most. I've written on this before. California is like a sham, quote unquote, good athletic commission. Like they want to act like they do all the right things, because I'm not sure if it's good press or whatever, but they're honestly like I don't buy it. Like, they didn't want to sanction Holyfield because, like, oh, with the safety, like, you let Chuck Liddell fight, dude. Like, are you serious?
Yeah, I forgot about that.
They let Chuck Liddell fight. There's been other cases where, like, terrible shit they let gone on. They let John Jones fight there. Remember when after test positive?
Yeah, they were gonna let me fight Josh.
The debut's coming, Angel. But yeah, California's not a good athletic commission, but they did bump that down to an exhibition. That one's full steam ahead in Florida. From my understanding, Florida, they're still having internal discussion about the Holyfield stuff, but everything else is like,
dude, who could they pull in? Who could they pull in if they cancel Holyfield? Do you think they would just scrap the Vitor fight?
I think they just scrap Vitor, and I think they do Anderson Tito as the main event.
Fuck, they got me sold on that though. I'll tell you.
I'm sold on that 100%. Which we'll talk about that fight in a minute. But
what if they found a replacement? Like, if you had to come up with a crazy one, who do you think they get? Like fucking Jake? Imagine, nah.
On short notice, I think they probably do.
Who could they get on short notice? Like, realistically,
I have no idea.
Yeah, that Shannon the Cannon Briggs. I'm surprised they haven't.
Maybe.
Surprised they haven't gotten Shannon on it, dude. I feel like if they give, dude,
I feel like he's a layup for this thing, right?
Yeah, like if he had to do the call, he'd be down for it. I feel like I'm surprised they haven't gotten Shannon on these cards. You know what I mean? I feel like Shannon would be down to fight anybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He'd be down to fucking fight Fedor. I don't know. Some crazy shit. I don't know. Just because he just wants attention. I kid you not. I think that man just craves attention. Like, I'm not trying to be a dick or nothing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but ultimately, for me, I mean, this is a shit show of a card. I just actually broke the news yesterday that former President Donald Trump will be doing an alternate commentary on the show, which is the weirdest.
That is probably the weirdest alternate commentary ever.
We're in the weirdest timeline, dude. Like, just 20. Who had on their 2021 bingo card former President Donald Trump? Like,
wait. Hold up. What's weirder? Keemstar and Fuzi doing alternate commentary, or are you Donald Trump doing alternate commentary?
Oh, Sean, hands down, because at least, like, there was a reason for Kim to be there, because he's done, like, YouTube boxing stuff.
I guess you're right, but I guess they did do TikTok versus hip hop or rap artist. I should say.
But like, dude, just think about this, dude. Like, imagine going back, like, not even 10 years. Fuck that. More like let's go 6 or 7 years. Just the headline: former President Donald Trump doing commentary on Evander Holyfield versus Vitor Belfort fight. Like, what the fuck? Like, what? Like, what? Like, what a timeline we're living in, my dude. Like, it's so surreal.
We really did fuck up the Matrix somehow.
I'm telling you, whenever he won in 2016, everything got broken. All of our minds are broken. But yeah, if you guys want to watch that, he's going to be doing commentary, him and his son, for some reason.
Wait, the tall one?
No. The Coke one. The one that always looks coked up.
Okay. That was a tall fuck.
Yeah, no, not him. It's the other one. But yeah, so I guess now we should just get into the prediction part of it, Angel. So there's 3 fights on this card. I think they're all very interesting. Like, if it weren't for the last 2, I probably wouldn't watch this because the main event is so gross that I don't want to watch it. But like, it's such a weird event. There's so many different angles, so many concoctions that go into this thing. It's so fucking strange, but I'm gonna watch it. I'm not gonna feel proud of it, but I guess we'll start off with the main event. 57-year-old Evander Holyfield. It'll be heavyweight. This Vitor was originally scheduled to fight at a 180 catchweight. Now it's at heavyweight because of the short notice. 57-year-old Evander Holyfield has not fought since his win over Brian Nielsen in 2011. Vitor 1-0 as a professional boxer, but obviously is a former UFC light heavyweight champion, former cage rage champion, so on, and former UFC heavyweight tournament champion. Fun fact, whenever Vitor was winning the heavyweight tournament at UFC 12, guess who the heavyweight champion was at the time?
Oh, man. Was it Holyfield?
Evander the real deal Holyfield. So
man.
That's your crazy how 20 or so years later I guess it'd be 23 years later their paths are gonna cross. Insane. But yeah, who do you got in this main event, dude? Like, it is gonna be a real boxing match. It's gonna go on professional records. Do you think Vitor is gonna get one for the MMA guys?
You know something? Evander Holyfield had an amazing training camp. I think that Vitor gets it done in 4.
Done in 4. You think he's gonna knock out Evander?
In 4, yes. Did you like my build up there?
I did. You suckered me in.
I did, didn't I?
Yeah, dude. I'm also gonna go Vitor. I think for me, it depends on like how Vitor is gonna go about this. If
The,
Vitor goes in there
what
just
do you
trying to put
mean?
on a show,
What do you mean? Vitor's coming to kill. Have you not seen Vitor?
well, okay, it's like if Vitor's coming to kill, he's gonna knock him out, obviously. But my point is, like, he's going there for like a show, and he's just gonna try and like play to the crowd, and not beat up like a man on AARP. Then like it'll just be a decision. But like
I don't
I
know
don't know,
about
dude. If
that.
he's going in there for the kill, he's gonna knock him out. It's gonna be gross.
He could have accidentally hurt him, dude.
He could, and that's the worst part about this. Like, whenever it was Mike and Roy, at least both those guys are like in their early 50s. But Evander's like, he's had to retire multiple times. Like, he's taken a lot of fucking damage, dude. Like, he had to retire due to heart difficulties. Like, his speech is like kind of slurred. Like, it's gross, bro. It's gross, man. Like, I'm gonna watch it, but I'm not gonna feel good about it. You know what I mean? Um, Yeah, I'm gonna take Vitor too. Like, I think he's gonna get another one in the MMA column. Like, well, like these MMA boxing fights are so strange to me. Um, I think Vitor gets it done though. I don't think it's gonna be clean. I don't think it's gonna be pretty. But like, there's a point of diminishing returns. Like, whenever it's like these older boxing guys against MMA guys, I'd still normally pick the older boxing guy if he was like 48. Whenever you're 57 years old, bro, like that's a tough ass, man, especially on short notice. Like, he's especially originally supposed to fight Kevin McBride, who's like a slow, prodding, bigger guy. Vitor's like around Evander's size, but dude, he's lightning quick, and he's on all the Sazul. He's peeled out of his fucking tree right now, my man. So I'm gonna take Vitor, probably via finish inside of 4 rounds, like you said. Co-main event though, this one is the real main event. Can we agree on this?
Banger.
It's an absolute banger. Anderson Silva, who's kind of having this second career renaissance, so to speak, after his
Fucking
UFC
awesome.
run is over. He went into boxing and dominated Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., who was a former world champ, dude. Like, that was a tough ask. In Mexico, nonetheless. He beat him in Mexico. And, that was a complete domination. And now he's back, dude, and he's fighting Tito, the Huntington Beach bad boy, Ortiz, dude. What are your thoughts on this matchup? Like, what a strange fight.
I guess Tito needs money. And it's a fucking name for Anderson, so it works out for both of them, I guess.
Yeah, I mean it's weird, but I'm interested. Like, I'm kind of interested, dude. Like, mostly just because
I'm invested.
Yeah, I've watched some of the Triller, full credit to them, dude. Like, they are clearly not a well-run organization, but their documentaries, like, and like the way they build fights, they got it down, dude. Like, I talked about this in the build to the Mike fight and also the Jake Paul event. Like, they do shit right. Like, they get you intrigued for good reasons or bad reasons. They got you intrigued, and they have me intrigued in this one. Do you think Anderson gets it done? How do you think so? And so on and so forth.
Yeah, I think he takes a decision. I don't think he'll put out Tito.
Yeah, I'm gonna go same thing here. I think Tito, he's aged better than a lot of his peers in the MMA space. If this is MMA, it'd be different, but I'm gonna go take Anderson, dude. I think he's gonna move to 3-1, and I think the world is his oyster, dude. Like, it's crazy to me how like a 46-year-old Anderson Silva, he has the world in the palm of his hand, dude. The boxing world. Like, this fight does well, depending on how he looks, who knows what's next? Anything could be next. Last fight though, and by the way, I feel like I should point out here, there's actually a very, very good like opening fight on this card between two, like, I don't want to call them young prospects, but like two very, very good guys in Andy Vicezes and Joan O'Carroll. Which I believe is like a WBA title eliminator fight or something. Like, and that nobody's even talking about that one, and we won't even talk about it either. But
No.
The next fight up, David the Haymaker making his return against Joe Fournier, dude. What are your thoughts about this matchup?
Bro, we already talked about this. I'm interested in it. I think it's cool. I think it's a cool story. Like, imagine, this is very out there, but imagine, Josh, that you have a buddy who's in MMA. He's old. He's on the older end. You both are on the older end, and he's been retired from MMA. He's a solid guy. He's a champ. Pretty good guy.
Mm-hmm.
And, let's say, obviously you sadly don't, but let's say, you dabbled a little bit, right? You've done your little thing, and you're like, I think I could take you. And you're like, and then your homie's like, a champ, bro. And you're like, I don't know. Give me a chance. Like, that's kind of cool. Like, I gotta give it. It is a cool little story. I fuck with it.
I fuck with the story too, dude. Like, just the whole. I mean, David Hayes talked about the story. I think he talked about it when this fight originally got announced. But basically, they were just sitting around at dinner, and David, like, they were talking. Somebody asked, well, "How would a fight go with you too?" Because Joe Fournier is obviously he's done a little bit of the boxing, and David Hayes is a former champ. David was like, "Oh, it'd be a fun fight. It'd be a good fight." And Joe's just like, "I knock him the fuck out." Just something like really out of the blue. David's like, "Whoa, what the fuck?"
What the fuck, man?
I got to teach him. Like, it's just,
you gotta teach him. Yeah, you
gotta show
you
him.
Reach, I teach.
And now they got me intrigued, dude. I'm into it. Like, for that reason alone. And I love me some David Hay. So you gave I'm pretty sure you've talked about it a little before, but David Hayes probably gonna win this, right? Like, he has to.
Yes, dude. We saw him. The fuck.
Fair enough.
I'm telling you, dude. All these people are looking juicy lately. I need to get on this shit they're on.
Right? What the fuck are they feeding that man? But yeah, dude. Shout out to David Hay. Like, I hope he goes out there and gets the win. Because his career ending the way it did was so fucking sad, dude.
Josh, there's no fucking way this man loses to Joe Fournier. There's just no fucking reality.
He shouldn't.
No. Don't say that.
He shouldn't. Like, he should not lose.
He's going to win.
But, like, I don't know. Like, weirder things have happened. You know what I mean?
Like what?
And Donald Trump commentating on Evander Holyfield. Anderson Silva beating Holyfield Jr. Like,
I don't think that's like so
okay. I know. I'm just we went over it last week, but you know what I'm saying here. Like,
that's like one of the greatest strikers to ever be in MMA versus a guy who lacks maturity in boxing.
I will say this,
but has some good talent.
David Hay is like he's older than him, and he has a lot of injuries. That's the only thing that makes it interesting. But if he's even like a quarter of what he once was, yeah, he should smash him. But I'm not sure how healthy he is going in.
Smash. Habib smash.
Smash. He glassed him.
I saw that.
You saw that?
Yeah.
So fucking funny, dude. Oh my god. Yeah, okay, so that's all of the main fights on this card. $50 on Saturday night if you want to see this strange fucking event.
Fuck yeah. Take my money. Take my credit card. Take everything.
Take everything. Is there anything else you want to talk about on this card before we close out?
Nah, nothing, man. We fucking threw that shit down. I'm so ready for next week, man, for the biggest fucking UFC event of the whole fucking year. Ryan Spann.
I thought you forgot for a minute. I thought you were talking about, like, I was about to be like, dude, pay-per-view's not until 2 weeks. But yeah, like.
You're like, dude, chill out, man. You're selling them on it.
It's like, I know you like Anthony Smith and all, but god damn.
Dude, Anthony Lionheart fucking Smith, dude, out here beating fucking home invaders. Like, the fuck? Like, yeah, dude. Like, Ryan Spann is about to get these fucking,
Yeah, dude. But yeah, very fun event this weekend. Triller, dude, they got me intrigued, dude. Like, it's not good. It's gross matchmaking. But, like, I kind of like these gas station fucking. I call them gas station fights. You know what I mean? Like.
But dude, what's worse, fucking BKFC or this?
Oh, it's a toss up.
It's about even, right?
No, it's the top. I'd probably give this in terms of grossness. I'd say Triller for this card. If it wasn't Evander, if it was just another washed up guy, I'd say BKFC. But just because it's Evander Holyfield, he's like literally like.
You're lucky Holyfield isn't fighting in like BKFC against Diego the Nightmare Sanchez.
Man, that's something. That one's not gonna happen. Apparently they're looking at I don't remember the guy's name who's gonna fight Diego, but it's not gonna be that.
All right, heartbreaking.
Yeah. But anyways. We've gone for quite a while. This may actually be like our second or third longest show of all time. So, props to that. But I hope you guys actually did enjoy this one. I'm at Josh Evanoff on Twitter. He's at Angel Ortega _01 at Courtside Sound1 on Twitter for all things relating to the show. Feel free to give us a rate on Apple. Feel free to go ahead and subscribe on Spotify and on YouTube. Hope you guys enjoy the show. Peace and bud grease. Mouse click.